So I've kind of had a rough week, and I haven't had a lot of time to just do videos and stuff. So I really do apologize for people who have been asking for me to do a favorites. So one of the criteria that I use when I'm looking at items is would I buy it again if I lost it? And so what I have out here are things that I would buy immediately if I could, if I had lost them. Um, Also, these are items that if you put a gun to my head and said you can only have one, everything out here would be a contender. But in the end, I'll get to the one that, like, if you put a gun to my head and said you can only have one fidget, then that's it. I'll show you the one that it would be. I started about 2 years ago, and I had one very much like this. And for 2 years, this was it. I didn't even know there was anything else out there. I found this because I was looking into Damascus steel. Someone on Hacker News, Y Combinator News, news.ycombinator.com, had made a comment about Damascus steel not being a big deal nowadays, and that modern steel has gotten so far beyond Damascus, and so that kind of intrigued me, and I did some research and like kind of fell into the knife world for a little bit, for a hot minute. Spent a fortune, sold everything though, because it was just too expensive, and chasing it was too hard, and there was too much going on. And the thing is that what I really found that I liked about the knives was the metals and the bearings, and the tight manufacturing, and the sounds and the feel of the knives. And I used to fidget with them, and then when I realized that freaked people out, I found this coin from NJT Hand Power on Etsy. I'm not even sure I remember how I found it, but for 2 years, this is it. This is all I had. I'm gonna try and do the hand roll underneath the camera. It's kind of hard, but so I did this. I did this. I would spin it on the table, and I would do this with it, and could do it quietly, and I could do it noisy. This was it for me. So, like, if you ask if I could only have one, what would be satisfying, I did that for 2 years with this. Now, this one is better than the other. It's a little larger and thicker and heavier, but it has a more satisfying pop. It has these little grooves that make it easier to manipulate. This is also by NJT Hand Power. But I came across ACEDC and their donut. I've got a bunch of haptic coins, but I picked this one because it's so beautiful. But one haptic coin, I can only have one. It would be this one. This is the semiconductor from NJT. I mean, listen to that. Oh my gosh. It is a little thicker. And if, pocket space is at a premium, I could see. But this does fit in my fifth pocket. And it's copper. It's got copper in it. Obviously it's not, but it's not as heavy as some of the other items you're going to see. But yeah, this is everything I want in a fidget. The interesting thing for me is the aural and the sensorial are so important to me. The tone and tenor of the sound it makes. The way that the reverberation goes through my hands. I'm kind of kinesthetic in that sense, and so the other thing is this is dialed into the sense where like something like this is a little less satisfying because it doesn't really pop and snap, and you kind of can't get a good purchase on it, so your fingers kind of slide a bit. These Damasteel ones are better. Simply because of the etching makes it so that they have like crenellation that makes it easier to do, and of course this has the padding. But I don't know why this is perfect. This stepped down um, con, convex, concave. Wow, man, it's been a long day. Concave, yeah. So it's perfect, perfect sound. And again, this one makes a wonderful sound, kind of meaty, deep. This is just the bee's knees. So yeah, so haptic coin, this is it, top of the line. I you know, that's the one. I've got some spinners, and you know, I wanted to bring some of these out just to give you an idea of some of the stuff that I've got. I've got others, but like I've got Grail stuff. You know, something like this, which is very difficult to find, extremely expensive for what it is, and it's great. I mean, don't, if you've got the funds and you've got your heart set on it, don't let me dissuade you. But the reality is that it is up here, but you'll see it's not first in line. And you know, like I have a bunch of tungsten. A lot of this stuff is tungsten. You know, and again, Grail. I mean, these two at least. This thing is killer. Holy cow, the collision. I mean, I hesitate to even point these out because they're just so hard to find, and you just have to be lucky. The Milky is like that too. But I gotta tell you, like, I've got a lot of stuff out here. Cap is king. The price-wise, availability, models, just the kind of stuff that they've got available. This thing is a worry stone in and of itself. And it spins really well. And you know, it's got this great, like, milling. I don't know if you could tell, but that's a spiral. It's just so beautifully done. But yeah, so these are my top spinners. This is the Cap Horizon. I have a Mega on its way in tungsten, and so I'm really excited about that, as you can imagine. But this thing is my favorite spinner, bar none. If I could only have one spinner, this would be it. A very close second is the NJT hand power. This thing is, I mean, just listen to that. It sounds like a troop of angry bees, and it's I mean, it's obviously lighter than the tungsten, but it's thick. The interesting thing to me is how balanced it is, considering the fact that it's so deeply etched. It's hard for me to do this under the camera, but you can see here it's rock solid. And you know, because it's so deeply etched, figuring out how he got this thing balanced like that, you know, it's a work of art. So this is such a close second, I can't even tell you, to this, but this would be the one. You know, this is more because I'm super excited about the copper and the way that it patinas. I really am weird, and I like even the smell. I don't mind the smell of copper. It actually intrigues me. But this has a nice sound to it, and it's got a nice hand feel, and I really do like it a lot. This is the mini collision. I've got a full-size collision on its way. I pre-ordered that as well. I think that might go up. Or the new modular one from Cap. If you haven't got that yet, go out and get it. The thing about you know, having these grails out here is just making sure that people understand that when I say that there is stuff available for you to purchase right now, you could just go to the website and get it. I know there's nostalgia. I know that there's an emotional quotient to some of these decisions, and you know, that's up to you. But the reality is bang for your buck, dollar for the dollar. The Cap stuff is king. I mean, it's really amazing. M3 is still making stuff. FTO, I think that's the Full Throttle Originals are still making stuff as well. High quality. You know, like I love my two EDC, I think it is, the Nest XL in tungsten. And it's amazing, and I'm super glad I have it. If I lost it, I wouldn't buy it again because it would just be too expensive. If I lost this, I don't know that I would go track it down again. This was $600. I mean, that's a lot of money, and you know, I like it, but my gosh. Yeah, so this I love, absolutely banger. This thing rips. But up here, this is where it's at for me as far as that. But I definitely would replace both of these if I lost them, and I would definitely replace these if I lost them. And so that's kind of where I'm at. You know, these are hard to find, and you know, I wouldn't go chasing after them. They're amazing. They're wonderful, but you know, I wouldn't go chasing after them if I had to do it all over again. Okay, so now we've got the spinner, and so now let's talk about these miscellaneous items down here before we get into these, because these are a little more difficult. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are 5 of my favorite miscellaneous fidgets. I would replace these. As a matter of fact, I have 2 of these, a set of 2, one in the car and one at home. I absolutely love these. The way they feel, the way that there's a slight kind of, I don't know if you can see, there's kind of a concave to these. They're almost like they have like a waistline to them, and the way that the magnet strength on them is just perfect for their weight. The way that they pull at each other. It's kind of like the infinity cube. Let me get that out. It's kind of like the infinity cube. I have a aluminum. I think this is aluminum that I worked really hard to get smoothed out and nice. But this wasn't very expensive, but it took a lot of work, and your time's not, you know, free. It's not worth nothing. This is a zirconium, like a blasted zirconium version. This thing is fantastic. I don't know that I would buy it again, but that's simply because it was so expensive, and because so much of what I like about the Infinity Cube is covered by this relatively inexpensive, you know, zirconium. I think this was like $170 or something like that. I mean, that's what an incredible deal for the money. I would definitely replace this instantly. I mean, I have 2 because of that. So really highly recommended. Yeah, and I mean, everybody knows how much I love the mahjongs. This is in why is that color? That's kind of weird. This is in superconductor, and this is one of my favorite pieces of all time. I really love this. People don't. I think that mahjongs are kind of one of those things where you either get it immediately and love it, or you're just like, I don't even understand why people like these. So what I would do is pick it up in some of the cheaper materials. Let me see if I can match this. Yeah, I think that's right. Buy it in some of the cheaper materials, and like the stainless steel one is awesome. It has a really good weight. You can do this nice cupped pop. I really like messing around with these. The button is nice and clicky, but the for whatever reason the shape of these really kind of again, I'm very sensate and kind of kinesthetic, and so like I mean I think we all are to a certain extent. That's kind of why we're so interested in fidgets as a thing. But yeah, so it registers in my brain as being an item of quality, and that's why I really enjoy these. We'll get back to the Milkia. But this is, I mean, of course you don't have to get it in this material, but this is easily available. This is relatively easily available. Would definitely replace immediately if I lost. And then the same thing with this, the Eclipse. I've got in the Zircuti and Zirconium. I've got this kind of mixed, so it doesn't really come like this, but I've gotten 2, and I've kind of mixed them around. I like this because it reminds me of like Spidey flicking open a knife. I like it because I can play with it quietly if I want. Yeah, so this is amazing. I have two of these, and for that, one is none, two is one, and so, yeah, I would replace it if I lost it because I've already made it so that I didn't have to. But this is again from KAP, and easily available, readily available, and so really really great piece to have. These two, not easily available. I really, really love this. I have this in a number of materials. This is stainless steel. Oh, you know what? I wonder if I got... Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is in stainless steel. And this is in... Whoops. Copper? Or brass? No, brass. Brass or bronze. I don't know how to tell the difference between them. I could get the certificate of authentication to see, but I love this. If you see these, get them. Don't hesitate, pull the trigger. I heard a rumor that Unquiet Hands is actually going to make more of these. Get them. Don't get the cheap knockoffs from China, like the piano, I think that they called it. It's terrible. This is the form factor you want, though, and the reason being is because the way that you can hold it in your hand really, it's a nice form, and it's really ergonomic, and I really like it. I know that a lot of people like having it so that you can do multiple buttons at once. That's great. It's a lot of fun, but you could do multiple buttons at once with this. And it gives also the ability to hold it in your hand and click it. And I love these a lot. The Unquiet Hands Rocker Clicker, I think it's called. Amazing. Hard to find, though. And so would I replace it? Yeah, I would. It would be hard. And hopefully they are going to be making more of these. I hope they charge more, because that's the thing with sometimes is that... They don't realize how much work, the manufacturers don't realize how much work something is going to be, and so they don't charge enough for it, and it makes it so that they have limited availability. So I definitely would replace that. And the milk, yeah. I have two of these. It is essentially a haptic coin, a pretty good one, a pretty good one. It's better in some senses than the donut. And it's like a rotating slider. So yeah, I really like this a lot. Would I hunt one down if I lost it? I think some of the reasons why I liked this so much was because this was an early grail from a YouTube reviewer that really kind of made these something, and I like them. I don't know that I would hunt one down and replace it. I mean, especially when there's things like this that are available that you can just buy and not pay out of the nose for. If you can get these for a good price, yeah, sure, I highly recommend them. But I don't know that I would replace them if I lost them both somehow. So glad I have two, because I don't have to make that decision. But that's that. So, boy, if I had to only pick one, my heart says the Mahjong, but I gotta tell you, my brain says the Magic Beans. They are knuckin' futz. I love them, and yeah. So these are the so far the three that in each category, if I was told I could only have one, these would be it. And so now we go on to the sliders. So you probably have seen my video on kind of the slider trinity of Modus Works, Copiform, and Magnus. I promised myself I would remember the name of this, and now it's gone. Holy cow. This is the Illusion. I know that's the the Allure. That's it, the Allure Illusion. And the thing I like about this is it feels like it's wrought out of a single billet. I mean, like, you can't even really see the seam. I mean, you have to really look for it. And it just has like a real sense of quality to it. So like the rail is my favorite Magnus, and you can fight me on that, but this is it for me. I like the 3-click, and I like the thinness. I like the weight. The weight to magnet ratio is great. The titanium one of the rail is fantastic too. So if you can't get the zirconium, the titanium one is very, very close. I have that somewhere, not easily accessible, so forgive me. But yeah, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So I wanted to bring this out to kind of show you that I experiment with doing like hybrids where I change the tops and bottoms just to see if I can get some more comfortable fidgeting out of them. And this is a great combination, by the way. So I really, really enjoy the egg slicer, I think it's called, and the wide boy together. But this is pretty heavy, and it's pretty thick. And this doesn't do anything for me that this doesn't. And so, you know, if there was one Magnus, it would be this one. I'm just, you know, just gonna say I do love the Toad, especially in copper. But I had to put tape on this. You know, in order to even get this thing to function. So, like, which I kind of don't like. So, and I probably should do a video on that. Like, I've got a bunch of Magnus sliders. I mean, I've got a dozen more. Yeah, more than a dozen. And half of them don't slide right for me, and half of them slide wonderfully. And I don't know what it is. I've tried messing around with the screws. I've looked over the plates like with a fine-tooth comb to try and see if I could figure out what it was that was making them scratch. That was kind of why I put the tape on this one, was because I don't know if you can see it underneath the tape, but it was scratching all up. I literally took this and rubbed it on the concrete. Don't, you know, forgive me. Rubbed it on the concrete until they were able to slide smoothly on each other. And so be careful buying these secondhand. Magnus will do you right, so you know, I'm not too concerned about it. But yeah, so getting them straight from Magnus himself is probably the best bet. So anyway, but yeah, so this is my favorite Magnus. This is my favorite Compiform. This is again the V3, and it's just such a great, you know. And then this was a custom SGI Modus Works, and with the oil slick zirconium and the micarta. Oh my gosh, it's thicker than the other two. And you know, I did a whole video comparing these, but I have a really hard time deciding which one of these, you know, would be the one. But I think because I actually had this one custom made for me, and because it's so beautiful and it's so light, that you would think I would choose this one. and you know, this one is so well designed, and it has such good features, you know, and it's pretty well manufactured. I mean, it's, you know, in a certain sense, it's kind of slightly better manufactured, I think, than the Modus Works, which is fantastic. You know, great, really, really high quality. But I think if you asked me on any given day, I would give you a different answer. But for today, it's got to be. It's got to be my custom, the SGI Modus Works. So would I buy this again if I lost it? 100%, don't you doubt it. Would I buy this again if I lost it? Well, I have it in titanium, but yeah, I would, 100%. I would buy this again if I lost it. If you put a gun to my head and said I could only have one slider, would it be one of these two? Tomorrow, maybe. Today, it's this one. So there's a whole bunch of stuff I haven't touched on. I mean, I've got a lot of things that I really love to play with and that I enjoy a great deal. They find their way into my pockets pretty often, as you see from my daily carries. And, you know, like ACEDC makes just some amazing stuff. This is a wonky spinner. Like, it's not really like your traditional spinner, but, you know, for a spinner, this thing is pretty darn good. It's got a great noise, and, you know, but it's just not heavy enough for me, and it's one of those things where I wish it was, you know, slightly different. And I'm not even sure why I'm bringing it out, but yeah. So like I've got a bunch of stuff that I really like, that really kind of don't fit neatly into categories, and that's kind of why I did the miscellaneous one. But what you're seeing out here is, for me, the best of the best of the best. That if you consider track sliders to be a completely separate category, then I gotta tell you, I gotta go with this one from NJT Hand Power, and this is in superconductor. So yeah, that would be the one. This just came out, and this was pretty inexpensive, considering what it is. And wow, this thing is cool. It's very similar here, but it just doesn't have the same popping noise. I really like this one a lot. Yeah. So if you considered ball, like the trackball sliders, hopefully I haven't got this the right way. Yeah. If you consider that to be a separate and independent category, I would say that would be the one that I would get. And if you're noticing a trend that I have a favorite manufacturer, you know, you know, like when you look up here, it's basically, these are my favorite manufacturers. You know, you throw Compiform in there, and now you've basically just covered, you know, everyone who I will always trust and buy from. And if a Worry Stone is a separate category, this is my favorite. And again, it's, you know, by the same manufacturer. I'm at a half hour, so I'm gonna go.